Chapter 10. The Future of Drugs. 10.1 Predicting Drug Trends. The future of drugs encompasses a wide range of possibilities and hinges on multifaceted factors, including scientific advancements, regulatory changes, societal attitudes, and technological developments. Predicting drug trends is a complex endeavor due to the unpredictable nature of innovation, regulation, and market dynamics. Nonetheless, by examining current trajectories and emerging research, one can draw tentative conclusions about where drug therapy and drug use might be headed in the years to come. One of the key areas where we expect to see significant progress is in the realm of personalized medicine. This approach tailors drug therapies to individual patients based on their genetic makeup. As human genomics becomes more understood, the pharmaceutical industry is likely to develop drugs that are more effective with fewer side effects tailored to the genetic profile of the patient. This could mean a shift away from the one-size-fits-all model of drug development toward more targeted therapies. As a result, future drug trends could involve a more diverse and specialized set of pharmaceuticals entering the market. Technological advancements are set to play a crucial role in determining future drug trends. Nanotechnology, for instance, promises to revolutionize drug delivery mechanisms, potentially allowing for drugs that can more effectively target diseased cells without harming healthy ones. Such precision could drastically improve the efficacy of treatments for cancer and other diseases that require targeted therapy. In addition, technology such as 3D printing may enable the on-demand production of drugs, which could transform pharmaceutical supply chains and accessibility. Another trend that is likely to affect the future of drugs is the rise in resistance to antibiotics. As bacteria evolve, many of the antibiotics currently in use are becoming less effective. The medical community is predicting a dire need for new classes of antibiotics to combat antibiotic-resistant pathogens. Pharmaceutical researchers are being pushed to innovate and develop novel antibiotics that can outpace the evolution of resistance. This push toward new antibiotic discovery will likely be a major trend in drug development in the coming years. Furthermore, the landscape of recreational drug use is expected to evolve with new synthetic drugs and novel psychoactive substances entering the market. These substances often mimic the effects of existing drugs, but can be more potent and carry unknown risks due to their lack of clinical testing. Regulators and public health officials will have to stay vigilant to monitor these substances' spread and impact, potentially leading to new approaches in drug policy and enforcement. In addition to new types of drugs, the ways in which drugs are administered are likely to change. The future may bring more wearable devices capable of administering medication through the skin or other non-invasive means. These advancements could improve compliance rates among patients who have difficulty with traditional forms of drug intake, such as swallowing pills. With many chronic diseases requiring strict adherence to a medication regimen, such technologies could substantially improve treatment outcomes. The role of artificial intelligence, AI, in drug discovery and development is also a fast-growing area that cannot be overlooked. AI can process vast amounts of data to identify potential drug candidates much faster than traditional methods. This technology is expected to reduce the cost and time needed to bring a new drug to market. As AI algorithms improve and more data become available, the speed of drug development may increase significantly, leading to a more responsive pharmaceutical industry that can quickly adapt to emerging health challenges. Mental health is another area expected to receive increased attention in the future of drugs. With growing awareness of the importance of mental health, research into novel treatments for conditions like depression, anxiety, and PTSD is likely to be prioritized. This could result in the development and approval of new psychotropic drugs, including those that have traditionally been classified as controlled substances, such as psychedelics, which are beginning to show promise in clinical studies for addressing various mental health conditions. The influence of regulatory frameworks cannot be understated when discussing the future of drugs. As countries grapple with the need to balance drug innovation with patient safety, regulatory agencies may adopt more adaptive and responsive frameworks. This might include expedited review processes for drugs targeting unmet medical needs, or more rigorous post-marketing surveillance to promptly address any safety concerns that arise after a drug's approval. The economic context in which drugs are developed and sold is bound to shape future drug trends as well. As healthcare costs continue to rise, there may be increased pressure on pharmaceutical companies to justify the prices of their drugs, potentially leading to a greater emphasis on cost-effectiveness in drug development. This could result in a push for drugs that offer more significant health benefits or that reduce healthcare costs in other ways, such as by decreasing hospital stays or the need for other medical interventions. Lastly, the future of drugs is not solely a matter of developing new medications. It will also involve evaluating and possibly repurposing existing drugs. Drug repurposing, also known as drug repositioning, involves finding new therapeutic uses for drugs that are already approved or in development. Since these drugs have already undergone extensive testing for safety, repurposing can lead to new treatments reaching patients more quickly than starting from scratch. This process could become more common as researchers find novel applications for existing compounds, leveraging prior investment to address current health needs more efficiently. 10.2 Envisioning societal changes related to drugs. The societal changes related to drugs in the future can be anticipated through current trends, technological advancements, and evolving policies. These changes will likely have significant implications for public health, law enforcement, and the global economy. Societal attitudes towards drugs are evolving, and with advancements in research, there is a shift towards more evidence-based approaches to drug use and addiction. This section explores potential changes and challenges that society may face in regard to drugs. One notable shift that may occur is the decriminalization and legalization of certain drugs. As seen with marijuana in numerous jurisdictions, legislative trends suggest an easing of restrictions on drug use and possession. Decriminalization could lead to a reduction in the number of people incarcerated for drug-related offenses. This could help to alleviate the burden on the criminal justice system and redirect resources towards harm reduction and treatment initiatives. Legalization could also generate significant tax revenue and create legal job opportunities in industries such as agriculture, retail, and pharmaceuticals. The role of technology in drug development and distribution is poised to grow. Advances in pharmaceutical technology will likely lead to the creation of new medications, including personalized drugs tailored to an individual's genetic makeup. This could enhance the effectiveness of treatments for conditions such as chronic pain, mental health disorders, and addiction. Furthermore, the Internet has already changed drug markets through online pharmacies and darknet marketplaces. These platforms may expand, posing challenges for regulation and law enforcement, while also providing new avenues for harm reduction interventions. Harm reduction strategies might gain stronger support and become more widespread. These strategies focus on reducing the negative consequences associated with drug use, rather than on the prevention of drug use itself. Programs like needle exchange services, supervised injection sites, and widespread distribution of naloxone for opioid overdoses can save lives and reduce the transmission of infectious diseases. As the evidence supporting harm reduction accumulates, its adoption within mainstream healthcare and policy frameworks is expected to increase. Another dimension of change will pertain to education and public awareness. Educational programs related to drugs will become more nuanced and based on scientific evidence rather than on ideology. This could lead to a better informed public, less likely to stigmatize drug users, and more supportive of policies that are rooted in public health principles. Early education focused on critical thinking and substance abuse awareness could effectively reduce the likelihood of future drug abuse within the population. Substance use disorders (SUDs) may be increasingly approached as a public health issue, rather than solely a criminal one. This would signify a shift in resources towards prevention, treatment, and recovery services. As mental health gains recognition as a critical component of overall health, the integration of SUD treatment with mainstream healthcare is likely. There could be an increase in the availability of services, an improvement in the quality of care, and better outcomes for individuals with SUDs. Emerging drugs and new psychoactive substances, NPS, will continue to appear on the market. Regulatory systems will need to adapt rapidly to classify and control these substances appropriately. Fast-tracking scientific research will be essential to understanding the risks and potential therapeutic benefits of NPS. As a result, there may be changes in how drugs are scheduled and controlled, with a possible shift towards more flexible and responsive regulatory frameworks. The pharmaceutical industry will be under pressure to address the ethical concerns related to drug pricing and access to medications. There may be increased demand for transparency in the research and development process, as well as for the cost of medications to reflect their true value to patients. Initiatives to increase access to life-saving medications in low- and middle-income countries could result in broader global efforts to ensure equitable access to essential drugs. Drug policy may progressively become internationalized, with greater cooperation between countries to address the global dimensions of drug production, trafficking, and use. International treaties and agreements might be revised to allow for a more diverse range of drug control strategies that reflect the unique experiences and challenges of individual countries. Global data collection and sharing could improve the understanding of drug trends and facilitate the adoption of best practices worldwide. Society's relationship with psychoactive substances is complex and ever-evolving. As the line between legal and illegal drugs becomes blurred, and knowledge about the effects of various substances expands, we may see an increasing number of substances being reclassified. Public engagement in drug policy decision-making processes could become more pronounced, with an emphasis on protecting individual freedoms while minimizing harm to individuals and communities. Lastly, the battle against drug addiction is likely to continue, with emerging science playing a pivotal role. Advancements in neuroscience could uncover new treatment approaches, potentially necessitating an overhaul of current rehabilitation strategies. Genetic testing could predict individual susceptibility to addiction, enabling early interventions and customized treatment plans. In these ways, science and society will together shape the landscape of drug use and addiction treatment, striving towards a more balanced approach between freedom and control, compassion and responsibility. 10.3 Innovations in Drug Therapy and Psychology. The prospect of innovation in drug therapy and psychology promises to transform the landscape of treatment for mental and physical health conditions. As technology and science advance, we are witnessing the emergence of novel therapeutic agents, delivery systems, and methodologies that aim to increase the efficacy of treatments while minimizing adverse effects. The convergence of pharmacology, biotechnology, and digital health platforms is enabling personalized medicine to become an achievable goal in the near future. Personalized medicine, also known as precision medicine, is gaining momentum in the field of drug therapy. This approach involves customizing medical treatment to the individual characteristics of each patient, which can include genetic makeup, environmental factors, and lifestyle. The utilization of genome sequencing and biomarkers is increasingly allowing for the identification of precise drug targets, leading to the development of tailored treatments. The goal of personalized medicine is to optimize therapeutic outcomes by ensuring that the right patient receives the right drug at the right dose and time. Advancements in drug delivery systems are revolutionizing the way that medications are administered. Nanotechnology, for example, is playing a significant role in this area. Nanoparticles and nanostructured materials can be engineered to improve the bioavailability and targeting of drugs. This means that medications can be designed to reach specific areas of the body more efficiently, potentially reducing dosage requirements and side effects. Controlled release systems and implantable devices are also being developed to provide steady, sustained release of drugs, enhancing treatment continuity and patient compliance. The integration of digital technologies into drug therapy is changing patient monitoring and management. Wearable devices and smartphone apps are becoming essential tools for real-time data collection regarding a patient's physiological status, treatment adherence, and symptom progression. Artificial intelligence (AI) and machine learning algorithms are being used to analyze these large datasets to predict treatment responses and patient outcomes. These digital health tools not only empower patients to be actively involved in their own care, but also support healthcare providers in making data-driven decisions. Another area experiencing growth is the use of psychopharmacogenetics, which is the study of how an individual's genetic makeup affects their response to psychotropic drugs. Psychopharmacogenetic testing can help predict an individual's likelihood of success with a particular medication, thus helping to avoid a trial-and-error approach in psychiatry. This is particularly crucial in the treatment of disorders like depression and anxiety, where finding the right medication is often a lengthy and challenging process. As the cost of genetic testing decreases and its availability increases, we will likely see more routine use of this technology in clinical practice. Immunotherapy is a growing field with significant potential in treating a variety of diseases, including those of the central nervous system. While most commonly associated with cancer treatment, research is expanding into its role in targeting pathological processes in neurological and psychiatric disorders. Researchers are investigating how modulating the immune system can potentially halt or reverse disease progression in conditions such as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and even refractory depression. While still in the early stages, these innovative approaches could change the face of drug therapy for these challenging conditions. In the psychological domain, advancements in therapy methods are complementing drug treatment options. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and other evidence-based therapies are being refined and adapted for better integration with pharmacological treatments. Computer-assisted CBT, for instance, has been developed for wider access and scalability, allowing individuals who might not be able to attend traditional face-to-face therapy sessions to benefit from intervention. There is also an increased focus on the development of psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy. Substances like psilocybin, MDMA, and ketamine are being studied for their potential therapeutic benefits when combined with psychological support. These treatments are aimed at conditions resistant to traditional therapies, such as chronic PTSD or treatment-resistant depression. The potential of these drugs lies in their ability to produce profound changes in consciousness that can catalyze therapeutic breakthroughs when used in controlled, clinical settings. In addition to these drugs, researchers are exploring the role of cannabinoids in treating a plethora of health issues. With an increasing number of jurisdictions legalizing marijuana for medicinal use, there is a surge in interest and research funding for understanding how cannabinoids can be beneficial in disease management. The future could see cannabinoids being incorporated into a wider range of therapeutic regimens for chronic pain, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis, and more, pending robust clinical trials and regulatory approvals. Drug therapy and psychology are also expanding to include biofeedback and neurofeedback techniques, which represent a growing interest in non-pharmacological interventions. These therapies involve teaching individuals to control physiological processes such as heart rate, muscle tension, and brainwave patterns. Biofeedback and neurofeedback are used to address various psychological conditions, including anxiety, ADHD, and insomnia. As technology improves, these techniques are becoming more accessible and may offer an alternative or adjunctive treatment to drugs for certain conditions. Lastly, the expansion of telehealth is profoundly influencing drug therapy and psychological services. Telehealth platforms are facilitating access to care for individuals in remote or underserved areas and offer convenience for those with mobility challenges. They also enable better management of chronic conditions, as healthcare providers can more readily adjust treatments based on patient-reported outcomes collected through telehealth systems. The combination of telehealth and emerging technologies is fostering a more patient-centered approach in healthcare. The future of drugs in the realm of drug therapy and psychology is characterized by a multi-pronged approach that includes personalized medicine, sophisticated drug delivery systems, digital health technologies, and complementary psychological therapies. These advancements promise to improve patient outcomes, reduce the burden on healthcare systems, and open new avenues for the treatment of complex conditions. The trajectory of progress rests on continued innovation, rigorous research, and a commitment to integrating these developments into a cohesive healthcare model. 10.4 Anthropological predictions for drug use in future societies. The use of psychoactive substances has been a component of human culture for millennia. As we look toward the future, it becomes critical to understand the potential trajectories of drug use from an anthropological perspective. The study of past and contemporary human cultures can provide insight into the future patterns of drug use, acceptance, and regulation. Despite the inherent uncertainty of predicting societal trends, anthropologists can make educated predictions by examining ongoing cultural shifts, technological advancements, economic factors, and global interconnectedness. One prediction for the future of drug use encompasses a change in societal perceptions. Over time, it is plausible that societies will adopt more nuanced views about drugs. With the increasing prominence of harm reduction models over punitive approaches, a potential shift toward decriminalization or even legalization of certain substances is foreseeable. This shift may lead to changes in social rituals and norms surrounding drug use as they become more regulated and mainstream. Public health education campaigns could develop alongside regulation to emphasize safe use and minimize the risks of addiction and overdose. Another aspect likely to evolve is the incidence of medicalization and pharmaceuticalization of drugs. Advances in pharmacology and a better understanding of neurochemistry could result in the development of new, more targeted therapeutics derived from psychoactive substances currently considered recreational or illicit. The increasing precision with drug therapies may offer more personalized treatments for a range of mental health conditions, possibly redefining the boundary between medical and recreational drugs and influencing how society understands their use. The role of technological innovation in drug use and delivery cannot be underestimated. Future societies may experience the advent of sophisticated drug delivery systems capable of providing controlled doses at desired intervals, incorporating real-time biofeedback from wearables or implantable devices. Such personalization in the timing, dose, and even the effects of drugs could alter patterns of drug consumption, reduce the possibility of overdose, and potentially diminish the incidence of addiction. Despite advances in technology and science, economic disparities will continue to influence access to and the use of drugs. In future societies, the landscape of drug use might still reflect socioeconomic divisions, where the availability and quality of both recreational drugs and pharmaceuticals could mirror an individual's economic status. The effects of such disparity might continue to manifest in public health outcomes, with poorer segments of society facing greater risks associated with drug use due to lack of access to safe products and to educational resources. The globalization of culture and communications is likely to play a role in shaping drug trends too. As societies become more interconnected, the transfer of drug cultures among different regions may become more fluid. This could lead to a harmonization of attitudes towards certain substances, but could also facilitate the spread of new psychoactive substances before adequate research and regulation can be implemented. The global exchange of ideas might also mean that successful drug policies in one region could be rapidly adopted in others, for better or worse. The legal framework that surrounds drug use is expected to evolve. Existing international drug control treaties may not align with future societal attitudes and the findings from ongoing drug research. As nations reevaluate the impact of drug laws on public health and society, it is possible that there will be a global shift towards a new set of agreements or policies that take into account a modern understanding of drugs and their benefits and risks. Additionally, environmental concerns could shape the future of drug production and consumption. A rise in ecological awareness might result in more sustainable practices for cultivating natural psychoactive substances and synthesizing drugs, reducing the ecological footprint associated with these activities. Ecological damage from illegal drug production, such as deforestation from cannabis cultivation or pollution from methamphetamine labs, could become key areas of reform as public clamor for environmental responsibility grows stronger. Demographic changes are also a factor to consider. An aging global population might necessitate the development of drugs that cater to age-related conditions or enhance cognitive function. On the other hand, a youthful demographic in other regions might drive demand for recreational substances, potentially altering global markets and influencing cultural attitudes towards drug use. The intersection of demographic trends with drug use could yield diverse outcomes across different societal contexts. It is important to recognize the potential impact of unforeseen factors such as pandemics or economic crises on future drug use. Such events can prompt shifts in societal behavior and policy that may be impossible to predict. The COVID-19 pandemic, for example, demonstrated how a global crisis could lead to increased substance use due to stress, but also generate novel methods of drug delivery and, in the case of vaccine development, streamlined processes for drug approval. Lastly, the propensity for novelty among humans suggests that future societies may continuously pursue new psychoactive experiences. The pursuit of altered states of consciousness might lead to innovations in drug types, experiences, and associated cultures. Whether through synthetic biology, which could create novel substances, or through digital means, such as virtual reality environments designed to mimic drug-induced states, the human desire for psychoactive experiences will likely persist and drive changes in drug use. The future of drugs in society is likely to be influenced by a convergence of factors including shifts in perception, advances in medical and technological fields, socioeconomic developments, globalization, legal reforms, environmental considerations, demographic shifts, and unforeseen global events. The anthropological perspective suggests that the evolution of drug use will be a multifaceted process that mirrors the complexity of human culture itself. As societies evolve, so too will their relationships with drugs, necessitating continuous research and flexible, informed policy responses. 10.5 Philosophical Questions for Future Drug Use. As we traverse further into the 21st century, the future of drugs presents a variety of philosophical questions that entwine with moral, ethical, legal, and social concerns. The development of new pharmaceuticals, the emergence of psychotropic substances used for recreation or therapy, and the ever-evolving legal landscapes raise questions about the role drugs will play in future societies. This section explores these complexities and seeks to provide a framework for understanding the impact of future drug use on humanity. One of the primary questions we face as we look into the future concerns the definition of a drug. Traditionally, drugs have been seen as chemical substances that alter physiological functions. However, advancements in biotechnology might blur the lines between drugs and other forms of medical intervention. Gene therapy, for example, could be used to achieve effects similar to those sought with traditional drugs. As such, we must consider whether our current definition of drugs is adequate for the future, and how this might affect regulation, usage, and societal attitudes. The enhancement of human abilities through drugs presents another profound question. So-called smart drugs or nootropics promise the potential to improve cognitive function in healthy individuals. This raises the debate surrounding the ethics of pharmaceutical cognitive enhancement. If drugs can significantly enhance one's cognitive abilities, they might lead to a societal divide between those who have access to them and those who do not. The question then becomes not only one of fairness and equality, but also the potential for coercion. Will individuals feel pressured to use cognitive enhancers simply to keep up with societal standards or employment demands? Further ethical considerations arise from the use of psychotropic drugs for therapeutic purposes. The resurgence of interest in psychedelics for the treatment of mental health conditions, such as PTSD and depression, has led to a re-evaluation of the risks and benefits of such substances. One question that arises is how to balance the potential therapeutic benefits with the risks of misuse, addiction, or unintended long-term effects. In addition, there is the issue of how to ensure that such treatments are distributed fairly and without discrimination. The potential for drugs to alter human experience and perception lends itself to deeper philosophical thought. If certain drugs can profoundly change our understanding of self and reality, how might these experiences influence our collective philosophical and spiritual paradigms? Is there a place for substances that can induce these altered states of consciousness in a society where productivity and rationality are highly valued? And if so, what regulations ought to govern their use? The future of drug policy is also an area filled with philosophical puzzles. As attitudes toward drugs like cannabis shift and nations look to decriminalization or legalization models, questions arise about the role of the state in regulating personal behavior. What is the balance to be struck between individual liberty and communal responsibility? Should the state's role be paternalistic, protecting individuals from potential harms, or should it respect personal autonomy to decide on drug use? Another consideration is the impact of drug use on societal structures and systems. If certain drugs have the capability to enhance individuals' performance in various fields, who stands to benefit? And how might this reshape education, employment, and competition? Furthermore, given that drugs can be both beneficial and damaging, how can society distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable drug use? This is especially pertinent given that social perceptions of drugs often change over time. In contemplating the future of drug use, one must also confront the implications for healthcare systems. As personalized medicine becomes more prevalent, with treatments tailored to individuals' genetic profiles, the role of drugs in healthcare is set to become ever more central. How will healthcare systems adapt to manage the increasing complexity of drug-related treatments? And how will they cope with the ethical implications of personalized medicine, such as privacy concerns and access to potentially life-changing drugs? The environmental impact of drug production and disposal is another serious consideration. The pharmaceutical industry's ecological footprint is significant, and as drug use increases, so too may the environmental consequences. We must ask ourselves how we can balance the demand for drugs with the need for sustainable practices. Can we develop more eco-friendly methods of drug production? And do we have adequate systems in place for the disposal of unused or expired drugs to prevent environmental contamination? The philosophical inquiry into the future role of drugs must not neglect the consideration of what constitutes treatment versus enhancement. The traditional view has been to regard drugs as primarily therapeutic, meant to restore or maintain health. However, as the potential for enhancement becomes more realistic, it compels us to redefine health, functioning, and what is considered normal. This is not just a semantic issue, it extends into policy making, insurance coverage, and social expectations about health and well-being. Finally, there is the overarching question of what kind of society we envision for the future, and how drugs fit into that vision. Drugs have the power to alleviate suffering, enhance experiences, and even expand the mind. Yet they also carry risks of harm, abuse, and societal disruption. As we strive towards an uncertain future, the collective decisions we make about drug use and the values that inform those decisions will shape the individuals we become and the world in which we live. These philosophical questions are integral to our understanding of future drug use and its implications. They require careful, thoughtful debate and a willingness to engage with complex ethical dilemmas. As we progress, it is vital that we apply foresight and compassion, ensuring that our approaches to drug use in the future are grounded in a desire to maximize benefits, minimize harm, and promote a fair and equitable society for all. 10.6 The Frontier of Drug Chemistry and Design. The future of drug chemistry and design holds immense potential for addressing some of the most pressing health challenges faced by humanity. The past few decades have witnessed significant advancements, but the road ahead is even more promising, with new technologies enabling unprecedented precision in drug development. The field is moving towards a targeted approach, where the effects of drugs can be directed more specifically to the areas or systems in need, reducing the potential for side effects and increasing therapeutic efficacy. One of the key developments in drug chemistry is the use of computer-aided drug design, CAD. This method employs computational tools to model and simulate the interaction between drugs and their biological targets. By using CAD, researchers can predict the efficacy of new compounds and refine their structures before synthesis, saving valuable time and resources in the drug development process. The growth of big data analytics and machine learning will further augment this approach, enabling the analysis of vast chemical and biological datasets to uncover novel drug candidates. Another promising area is the design of biologic drugs, which are produced from living organisms or contain components of living organisms. These biologics are particularly effective in targeting diseases that have been difficult to treat with traditional small molecule drugs. As our understanding of biological systems improves, the development of biologics is becoming more refined, allowing for the treatment of a range of conditions, from autoimmune diseases to cancer, with higher precision. The synthesis of drugs is also undergoing significant transformation. Flow chemistry, a process that involves the use of small-scale reactors and continuous flow rather than batch production, is changing the landscape of pharmaceutical manufacturing. It allows for more precise control over reaction conditions, leading to higher yields, fewer byproducts, and reduced reaction times. This method not only streamlines the manufacturing process, but also enhances the safety and scalability of drug production. Advances in nanochemistry are providing another frontier in drug chemistry and design. Nanoparticles and nanostructured materials can be engineered to deliver drugs directly to specific cells or tissues in the body, potentially revolutionizing the way we treat diseases. By utilizing nanotechnology, drugs can be developed to circulate in the body for extended periods, target infections or tumors with high specificity, and release their active ingredients in response to specific biological triggers. The field of pharmacogenomics is gaining traction as a means to personalize medicine. By understanding the genetic factors that influence an individual's response to drugs, pharmaceutical chemists can design medications that are tailored to the genetic makeup of individual patients. This personalized approach not only improves treatment outcomes but also minimizes the risk of adverse drug reactions. As genetic sequencing becomes faster and more affordable, pharmacogenomics will become an integral part of drug design and therapy. The integration of drug chemistry with interdisciplinary science is fostering innovative approaches to drug development. For example, insights from fields such as material science, electrical engineering, and computer science are merging with pharmaceutical chemistry. This has led to the exploration of smart drug delivery systems, where devices powered by electronic circuits can release drugs in a controlled manner and even respond to physiological signals to regulate dosing. Harnessing the potential of the microbiome is another emerging avenue in drug design. The human microbiome, which comprises trillions of microorganisms living in and on our bodies, plays a pivotal role in our health. Researchers are beginning to understand how these microorganisms contribute to disease and health, leading to the concept of modifying the microbiome with drugs designed to target specific bacterial populations or functions. This could offer new strategies for treating conditions ranging from gastrointestinal disorders to immunological and metabolic diseases. Beyond the design and synthesis of new drugs, the future of drug chemistry also involves the re-evaluation of existing medicines. Drug repurposing, the process of finding new uses for approved or investigational drugs that are outside the scope of the original medical indication, has the potential to significantly speed up the availability of drugs for new indications. By bypassing some of the lengthy and costly steps involved in bringing a new drug to market, repurposing can offer a faster route to treatment for patients with unmet medical needs. The frontier of drug chemistry is not just defined by scientific and technological advancements, but also by the ethical considerations and regulatory frameworks that govern drug development. As we move forward, it is essential to ensure that new drugs are not only effective and safe, but also accessible to those who need them most. Balancing innovation with ethical responsibility will be vital in shaping the pharmaceutical landscape of the future. The future of drug chemistry and design is bright, filled with opportunities to create more effective, safer, and personalized medicines. The integration of advanced technologies, computational methods, and interdisciplinary science will drive the discovery of groundbreaking treatments. It is a field marked by constant evolution, where the well-being of patients remains the ultimate goal. As researchers continue to push the boundaries of what is possible, society can look forward to a new era of drug development that is both revolutionary and relentlessly committed to improving human health. 10.7 Emerging biological discoveries and drug development. The landscape of drug development is constantly transformed by emerging biological discoveries. One of the most significant of these is the field of genomics. With the Human Genome Project completed in the early 2000s, scientists now have a detailed map of the human genome to identify how certain genes contribute to disease. This genomic information plays a crucial role in personalized medicine, where treatments can be tailored to an individual's genetic makeup. This approach aims to increase the efficacy of drugs and reduce adverse reactions. As more genetic markers for diseases are identified, the potential for targeted therapies grows, promising better patient outcomes and more efficient drug development processes. Another critical development in the field of biology that impacts drug development is the understanding of proteomics, the large-scale study of proteins, which are vital parts of living organisms and involved in virtually all cell functions. High-throughput proteomic technologies allow for the analysis of vast arrays of proteins simultaneously, offering insights into functions, structures, and interactions. This knowledge is essential for identifying drug targets and understanding the mechanisms of action of potential therapeutic compounds. By focusing on the proteins that are active in a disease state, researchers can develop drugs that more effectively combat diseases by either enhancing or inhibiting these proteins. The advent of CRISPR Cas9 genome editing technology has revolutionized drug development by providing a method to precisely alter DNA within organisms. CRISPR allows for the correction of genetic defects and the identification of genes involved in health and disease. This editing tool can be used to create more accurate disease models for drug testing, offering a clear pathway from the identification of a genetic target to the production of a therapeutic agent designed to interact with it. Furthermore, CRISPR Cas9 technology could potentially be used to directly treat genetic diseases by repairing or inactivating the faulty genes causing the disorder. The increased understanding of the human microbiome, the community of microorganisms living in and on the human body, is also influencing drug development. The microbiome has been linked to a range of health conditions, including digestive disorders, immune system function, and even mental health. This has spurred research into microbiome-modulating therapies that could treat diseases by altering the composition or function of these microbial communities. Probiotics, prebiotics, and bacteriophage therapies are being explored as potential treatments. Additionally, the microbiome's role in drug metabolism and response has important implications for the effectiveness and safety of drugs, paving the way for microbiome-aware drug development. Stem cell research is yet another area of biological study that has implications for the future of drug development. Stem cells have the unique ability to develop into many different cell types, and their therapeutic potential for drug discovery includes drug screening, disease modeling, and regenerative medicine. By using stem cells derived from patients with a particular disease, researchers can create disease-specific cell lines to test the effects of drugs, greatly enhancing the predictive nature of preclinical drug testing. Additionally, stem cells can potentially be used to repair or replace damaged tissues, offering a new approach to treatment that goes beyond traditional pharmacology. The field of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning are also beginning to intersect with drug development in significant ways. Advanced algorithms can process vast amounts of biological data to identify potential drug candidates much more rapidly than traditional methods. AI has the ability to find patterns and relationships in data that may not be evident to human researchers, potentially uncovering novel pathways for therapeutic intervention. Moreover, Machine learning algorithms are becoming more adept at predicting drug toxicity, pharmacokinetics, and pharmacodynamics, shortening development timelines and reducing the cost of bringing new drugs to market. Nanotechnology offers new dimensions to drug development by enabling the creation of drug delivery systems that can target specific locations in the body at specific times. Nanoparticles can be engineered to bypass the body's natural defense mechanisms and deliver drugs directly to affected cells or tissues. This targeted delivery can enhance the therapeutic efficacy of drugs while minimizing side effects. Nanotechnology is also enabling the development of new forms of drugs, such as nucleic acid-based drugs, which can interfere with the genetic proliferation of diseases at the cellular level. The elucidation of signal transduction pathways, the processes by which cells respond to external stimuli, is another critical biological insight shaping drug development. Signal transduction research helps in clarifying the role specific molecules play in cell growth, survival, inflammation, and other physiological responses. Such insights are invaluable for the creation of drugs that either enhance or suppress these signaling pathways in order to treat diseases. For example, cancer therapies are increasingly targeting specific abnormal signaling pathways responsible for tumor growth and progression. Emerging research in the field of epigenetics, which deals with changes in gene expression that do not involve alterations to the underlying DNA sequence, is having a profound impact on drug discovery. Epigenetic changes can have significant effects on health and disease and are reversible, making them attractive targets for drug development. Epigenetic drugs can potentially reactivate silenced genes in diseases like cancer, or alter the expression of genes involved in neurological disorders. The development of epigenetic drugs, commonly referred to as EPI drugs, is a rapidly growing area that holds promise for the treatment of a wide range of diseases with a hereditary component. As our understanding of biological systems expands, there's an increasing need for interdisciplinary collaboration in drug development. The complexity of diseases requires a joined-up approach that integrates insights from genetics, proteomics, cell biology, computational science, and other fields. Such collaborations are becoming commonplace in the biopharmaceutical industry, as they are necessary to harness the full potential of emerging biological discoveries. The synthesis of these diverse areas of knowledge into coherent drug development strategies is key to addressing the health challenges of the future. The future of drugs is being sculpted by a wealth of emerging biological discoveries that are transforming our understanding of human health and disease. Each advancement opens new avenues for the development of innovative drugs and therapies. The integration of these discoveries into drug development pipelines signifies a shift towards more personalized, effective, and safer treatments. As research continues to evolve and new technologies are developed, the boundaries of what is possible in medicine and drug therapy will continue to expand, offering hope for the treatment of previously intractable diseases. The next decade promises to be an exciting time for drug development, with the potential to drastically improve the quality of life for individuals around the world. 10.8 Speculative Narratives: The Future of Drug Experiences. In the future, the experiences provided by drugs are expected to evolve significantly due to advancements in pharmacology, neuroscience, and technology. As researchers gain a better understanding of the brain's functioning and the pathways implicated in sensation, emotion, and cognition, we are likely to see the development of more precise drugs. These substances will be capable of targeting specific neural circuits to produce desired effects while minimizing side effects. This ability to fine-tune the action of drugs will alter the scope and nature of drug experiences, which could be tailored to individual profiles, thus enhancing both efficacy and safety for users. Drug delivery systems are also anticipated to undergo substantial change. Conventional methods of drug administration, such as oral ingestion or injection, may give way to more sophisticated techniques like transdermal patches, inhalable nanoparticles, or even direct brain interfaces. Such technologies may enable continuous and controlled administration of drugs, which could result in longer-lasting and more consistent drug experiences. Furthermore, these methods could potentially allow for real-time adjustments to dosages, mediated by biofeedback mechanisms, ensuring optimal therapeutic or recreational outcomes with fewer risks of overdose or adverse reactions. The confluence of drugs with digital technologies will increasingly lead to what might be termed digital pharmaceutics. Through virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, drug experiences could be combined with immersive environments to enhance the aesthetic or emotional impact of the substance. Imagine therapeutic sessions where the drug-induced state is complemented by a VR setting designed to promote relaxation or cognitive insights, thereby intensifying the therapeutic benefit. On the recreational side, individuals might select packages that pair specific drugs with curated AR/VR content to create unique, multisensory events. The integration of artificial intelligence, AI, into the development and dispensing of drugs promises to revolutionize the field further. AI could assist in designing new molecules that bind with high specificity to certain receptors in the brain, reducing the trial and error aspect currently prevalent in drug development. Moreover, AI could help manage individual treatment plans, monitoring responses to medications and suggesting adjustments to dosages or combinations of drugs for optimal outcomes. This personalization of drug therapies could dramatically improve the success rates of treatments for mental health disorders, addiction, and chronic pain, among others. Another aspect of the future of drug experiences is the potential shift in societal perceptions and legal frameworks. As the therapeutic benefits of certain controlled substances, such as psychedelics, become more evident, there may be a move towards decriminalization and regulated access. This could lead to a more nuanced understanding of drug experiences, where they are viewed not only in terms of risks, but also as potential tools for enhancing well-being and cognitive function. Such a shift could facilitate the establishment of safe usage environments, as well as support services to ensure that drug experiences are positive and beneficial. Precision genetics may also play a role in the future of drug experiences. As genetic testing becomes more accessible and comprehensive, individuals may receive drugs that are tailored not only to their physiological states, but also to their genetic profiles. This could significantly reduce the occurrence of adverse drug reactions and improve the efficacy of pharmaceutical interventions. Genetic insights could inform everything from the selection of antidepressants to the design of personalized nootropic cocktails to augment intellectual performance or creativity. The pharmaceutical industry itself is likely to transform in response to these advancements. Drug development might shift from a focus on mass-market products to the creation of niche, personalized medications. Pharmaceutical companies may need to collaborate more closely with biotech firms, tech companies, and academic institutions to harness the interdisciplinary knowledge required for such innovative drug development. As the cost of personalized drug production decreases, it might become a standard practice, resulting in a highly diverse market of drug experiences. The ethical considerations surrounding the future of drug experiences will become increasingly complex. As drug effects become more precise and powerful, there may be discussions about the potential for misuse, such as cognitive enhancement in competitive scenarios, or the use of substances to manipulate mood or behavior in interpersonal relationships. Ethicists, policymakers, and the public will need to engage in ongoing dialogue about the boundaries and regulations appropriate for these powerful new drug experiences. An important aspect of the future drug experience is the continuing dedication to harm reduction. As new drugs are developed and old ones are repurposed, there remains a need to prioritize safety and to mitigate risks associated with drug use. Education about responsible use, access to testing services to verify substances, and strategies for managing unwanted effects are all components of a harm reduction approach that will remain relevant in the future landscape of drug experiences. Lastly, much attention has been focused on the potential of reversing addiction using advanced pharmacological and technological interventions. In the future, This may involve treatments that can selectively weaken or erase drug-related memories, reducing cravings, or modify reward pathways in the brain to prevent relapses. Techniques such as deep brain stimulation, DBS, or targeted gene therapies might become standard components of addiction treatment protocols, signifying a historical shift in how society confronts and manages addiction. The future of drug experiences is poised for dramatic changes, spurred by scientific and technological progress. These speculative narratives paint a picture of a diverse and complex drug landscape that will challenge our current understanding and governance of drug use. Yet they also offer the prospect of more safe, targeted, and meaningful applications of drugs in our lives. As we navigate this terrain, a careful balance must be sought between embracing innovation and preserving ethical considerations and societal well-being. 10.9 Preparing for Future Public Health Challenges. The subject of drugs is deeply intertwined with issues of public health. As we look to the future, it is paramount that public health strategies adapt to evolving challenges related to drug use and misuse. This involves several facets, from anticipating new substances of abuse to developing innovative prevention and treatment strategies. One of the key challenges in preparing for future public health challenges involves staying abreast of emerging drugs. Novel psychoactive substances, NPS, which are not yet controlled by law, can suddenly appear and become widely used before health professionals and policymakers fully understand their effects. This necessitates a proactive approach to drug surveillance, including the use of internet monitoring and collaboration with international agencies to quickly identify and categorize new substances. Another significant aspect of preparation is the ongoing need for public education. Education campaigns need to be evidence-based and adaptable, targeting specific populations and evolving as drug trends change. This may involve traditional methods such as school-based programs, as well as leveraging new technologies and social media to reach wider audiences. The goals of such campaigns are to inform about the risks of drug use, provide guidance on safe prescribing practices, and destigmatize addiction to encourage those in need to seek help. Enhancing the infrastructure for research is also crucial in preparing for the public health challenges of the future. This includes funding interdisciplinary studies to better understand the complex interactions between biological, environmental, and social factors that contribute to drug abuse and addiction. Delving further into research on genetics and epigenetics could enable the development of personalized medicine approaches to treatment, which may be more effective and reduce the risk of substance abuse. Treatment strategies themselves must evolve to meet future needs. This includes expanding access to care, improving quality of treatment services, and integrating treatment for substance use disorders with other health services. Innovative therapeutic modalities, such as telemedicine, could provide a way to reach individuals in remote or underserved areas, ensuring that fewer people fall through the cracks of the healthcare system. The regulatory landscape related to drugs is another important consideration. Governments must be willing to adjust legal frameworks in response to new information about the benefits and risks of both existing and emerging substances. This may involve reclassifying drugs, modifying prescription guidelines, or adjusting harm reduction policies as the scientific understanding of substances develops. Prevention tactics will need to be more dynamic in the future, with a focus on risk factors specific to different populations. Prevention could involve early intervention programs in schools, workplaces, and healthcare settings that identify at-risk individuals and provide appropriate referrals or support. By targeting vulnerable groups before drug misuse begins, these efforts can help to reduce the incidence of substance abuse and its associated health outcomes. Collaboration between public health agencies, law enforcement, and community organizations will be essential to effectively respond to future drug challenges. Joint efforts can provide a more cohesive and robust approach to drug prevention and enforcement. Building bridges between these various sectors encourages the sharing of information and resources, which can enhance the overall effectiveness of drug-related policies and programs. The importance of a global perspective cannot be underestimated. Drug trends and public health crises in one region can quickly spill over into others due to the interconnected nature of modern society. International cooperation, such as through the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, and the World Health Organization, WHO, will be necessary to tackle issues that transcend borders and to facilitate the dissemination of best practices in public health. Lastly, planning for the future must include preparing for the unpredictable. This means developing flexible systems that can quickly pivot in response to sudden changes in drug use patterns or the emergence of unanticipated threats. It also requires building capacity to deal with large-scale health emergencies, such as the opioid crisis, by ensuring that resources, including funding, personnel, and facilities, can be scaled up as needed. In conclusion, the future of public health challenges related to drugs requires a multifaceted and dynamic approach. It involves continued surveillance, public education, enhanced research, updated treatment modalities, adaptive regulatory frameworks, tailored prevention strategies, cross-sector collaboration, a global perspective, and the ability to respond swiftly to unforeseen events. By addressing these areas comprehensively, society can better prepare for the inevitable challenges that will arise as the landscape of drug use and misuse continues to evolve. 10.10 Shaping Future Drug Policies. The future of drug policy is influenced by a synthesis of historical precedents, current challenges, and evolving perspectives on drug use and its consequences. Policymakers must continually adapt to emerging evidence, societal norms, and a shifting landscape of substance use. Coming up with effective strategies requires careful consideration of the impacts of policies on public health, criminal justice, and social equity. In order to shape the drug policies of the future, it is essential to analyze past measures, assess contemporary issues, and anticipate trends and challenges that might arise. The first vital step in shaping future drug policies involves a rigorous and honest appraisal of current policy outcomes. This means evaluating the effectiveness of existing laws, the fairness with which they are enforced, and their social and economic impacts. The outcomes of contemporary policies can help guide adjustments and reforms. Policies that have demonstrated a reduction in harm, such as overdose prevention programs or access to treatment services, may be expanded or replicated. Conversely, policies that have not yielded positive outcomes or have created negative unintended consequences need to be critically reassessed or altered. Advancements in pharmacological research also play a substantial role in informing future drug policies. As new substances are developed, either for therapeutic use or through illicit manufacture, understanding their pharmacokinetics and potential effects on health is crucial. Policymakers must keep abreast of the scientific literature, fostering collaborations with researchers to remain at the forefront of drug knowledge. This collaboration enables the creation of legislation that adequately addresses the risks associated with new drugs while considering potential medical benefits. A major consideration in shaping future drug policies is the role of addiction as a public health issue. Increasingly, there is a recognition that addiction is a complex condition, influenced by genetics, environment, and social factors. Effective drug policies must promote a nuanced approach that combines prevention, treatment, and harm reduction. This approach emphasizes medical and social services to address substance use disorders, rather than punitive measures that may exacerbate the problem. The decriminalization and legalization of certain drugs in various regions have provided case studies that illustrate the potential benefits and challenges of such policies. These examples offer a wealth of data that can guide future policy decisions. Observations from these regions have revealed that when properly implemented, these policies can reduce the burden on the criminal justice system, improve public health outcomes, and generate tax revenue. Careful analysis of these outcomes is essential for crafting balanced policies that can be adapted to different social and cultural contexts. International collaboration is another critical aspect of future drug policy development. Drug use and its associated problems are not confined by borders, and neither are the markets that supply drugs. Consequently, international treaties, agreements, and cooperative efforts are necessary to address the global dimensions of drug control. Effective policies must consider international dynamics, such as the trafficking of illicit substances and the spread of synthetic drugs, which often outpace national regulatory schemes. The consideration of civil liberties and human rights is essential in shaping future drug policies. There must be a balance between individual freedoms and the collective good. Policies should protect individuals from unjust or excessive punishment and ensure that people with substance use disorders are treated with dignity and have access to care. This human-centric approach is crucial to crafting policies that are ethical and socially acceptable. Social equity must also be at the heart of future drug policies. Historically, drug enforcement has disproportionately affected marginalized communities, contributing to social and racial disparities. Future policies should aim to rectify these disparities by ensuring that laws and their enforcement are fair and do not target specific populations unfairly. Additionally, considering the social determinants of health, such as poverty and education, can inform policies that address root causes of drug misuse and improve overall community well-being. The integration of technology is inevitable in the future of drug policies. Digital tools can be utilized for a multitude of purposes, from tracking trends in drug use to delivering telehealth services for those seeking treatment. Big data analytics can provide insights into the effectiveness of programs and policies, while artificial intelligence can assist in predicting outbreaks of drug abuse or identifying new substances in real time. Embracing technological advances will enhance the effectiveness and responsiveness of drug policies. Engagement with stakeholders, including patients, healthcare providers, law enforcement, educators, community leaders, and people who use drugs, is a key component for the success of future drug policies. Dialogue with these groups ensures that multiple perspectives are considered, leading to more comprehensive and relevant policies. Engaging with stakeholders also promotes transparency and trust in the processes that shape drug policy. The shaping of future drug policies will be an iterative process, requiring continuous evaluation, reflection, and adaptation. Policies should be grounded in evidence, prioritize public health, respect human rights, address social equity, and incorporate technological advancements. Official decisions should be made transparently, involve community input, and be adaptable to emerging trends and changing social attitudes towards drug use. By taking a multifaceted and dynamic approach, future drug policies can become more effective in reducing harm, promoting health, and fostering just societies. Conclusion. In drugs, we have journeyed through the multifarious dimensions of substances that have, for millennia, altered human consciousness, shaped cultures, and sparked endless debate. This exploration has taken us from the ancient rituals to modern laboratories, from the sacred to the profane, from healing to harm, and from stringent control to liberalization. We have seen the dual nature of drugs as both medicine and poison, a source of solace and a trigger for chaos. Their impact spans the spectrum of human experience, influencing our bodies and minds, societies and economies, laws and ethics. This book has not shied away from the controversies and complexities inherent in the topic. It has instead sought to shine a light on the often opaque understanding of drugs, inviting a nuanced contemplation rather than a one-dimensional verdict. Throughout the pages, we have encountered the stories of individuals and communities, the scientific facts and the moral quandaries, the stark statistics, and the personal narratives that drugs weave into the human story. Each chapter has contributed to building a comprehensive picture, presenting drugs not as a singular entity, but as a tapestry of compounds with diverse effects and significances. In the realm of science, we unpacked the chemical structures and biological mechanisms, discovering how substances interact with the human body and mind. In the societal context, we scrutinized the ways in which drugs can both uphold and undermine the social fabric. Philosophically, we grappled with the ethical dilemmas posed by drug use, and legally, we navigated the thorny thicket of drug policy and its global implications. As we close this text, it is clear that the conversation around drugs is far from finished. The final chapter has left us poised on the cusp of the future, a future where the landscape of drug use and policy is rapidly evolving, driven by scientific advances, cultural shifts, and a reevaluation of long-held beliefs. The challenges ahead are as daunting as the opportunities are promising. Drugs concludes not with definitive answers, but with a call to readers to continue the discourse, to remain open to new evidence, and to approach the subject of drugs with a blend of caution and curiosity. In understanding drugs, we understand more than molecules and marketplaces. We understand something fundamental about the human condition: the perpetual search for relief, for transcendence, for answers, and sometimes for escape. It is this unending quest that ensures the topic of drugs will remain relevant, requiring our vigilant study, compassionate understanding, and wise stewardship in the years to come.